Big 12 Media Days, and we're talking with Oklahoma State football coach Mike Gundy, a man who needs no introduction. What is this, year 21 for you?
21.
Does it feel like it's been that long?
Not really. Like most things now, everything goes really fast. The players are the same. Games change a lot, but it doesn't really feel like that many years, but it's been a long time.
The players are the same, though? They haven't changed over the last 2 decades?
They're the same. I think the adults and the parents, we change.
Yeah,
totally. We allow them to change, but the players are really the same. Now, we're in a different culture and time.
Right.
Not denying that, but ultimately they're all the same.
Coach, I have to point out that I put on my Oklahoma State black and orange sneakers today, knowing that you'd be in attendance. Right.
He's a K-State grad. I don't get too excited.
Hey, Oklahoma State's like our brother.
That's right.
Okay, K-State, Oklahoma State, we're all connected.
Yeah.
You got Sean Snyder on staff.
A lot of similarities with the schools.
But you've got a new staff when you talk about your coordinators and a lot of coaches. So what went into the change, and how do you feel about Doug and Todd and the guys you brought in?
So the staff that I had was most of those guys had been with me 10, 12 years. And obviously we've had a tremendous amount of success and won a lot of games. And we hadn't fared as well last year, and we just needed a change. That didn't necessarily mean you wanted to change everyone, but when you bring in new coordinators, they want to bring their own people. It's considerably different than it was even 5, 6 years ago. So when you hire a coordinator, they bring their own people with them. They speak the same language, the same terminology. They understand it. And so that's why there was more of a drastic change. Those guys are good football coaches, and they'll surface and do well for the rest of their career. But so far with Doug and Todd, I'm pleased. Spring ball was interesting for me, particularly on the defensive staff. I didn't know anything about any of these guys, because Todd Grantham brought his 7 or 8 coaches with him.
You're talking about coaches when you say these guys.
Sure. Yeah. He brought his coaches with him, and so when I watched him in spring ball, it was as new to me as it was to anybody. Now, I was familiar with Coach Meacham, obviously, because he and I had worked together before. But I'm very pleased with the results that we've gotten up to this point.
Did you watch film from last year at all? Like, did you just throw it away? Like, what do you do to the tape from last year, especially on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, there's not any tie at all.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so you just throw it away? Like, forget about it?
Well, the new coaches would watch to get an evaluation of what talent level they had at each position and what they thought they could bring to the table. But two completely different concepts and schemes, so there's not much use in that video.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State coach Mike Gundy here at Big 12 Media Days. You told me back in November that offensively your system is so much better when you have a quarterback who can run a little bit. Mm-hmm. Do you have a quarterback that can run a little bit for this season? I think you've got several.
Well, we do. The guys that we have here can move around and run. In today's game, if you're going to be a pure pocket passer, then you have to go in a game with 6 good wide receivers, the guys that can compete and get open versus man coverage. Otherwise, your quarterback's got to be the extra guy. Got to find a way, in our opinion, to force defenses to bring a guy down to stop the run. Quarterback's got to be a threat. That'll give you a little more free access out on the perimeter.
I'm pretty excited about your offensive line. I mean, you've added a lot of talent and size in the portal. You had a kid from Tulsa. He's from Dallas, Allen. Another kid from App State. I mean, give us a sense here for me, because I think offensive line is a strength across the league, and I think, when you look at what you add to the portal, there's a lot of talent there, a lot of size there.
It's interesting. We have 65 new players that weren't on our team in December, and 35 of them we haven't even seen practice yet.
Wow.
We could have 3 starters in the offensive line that I haven't seen practice in pads. So at most of our positions, we're in a little bit of a transition from a learning standpoint. And to give you an example, when I talk about the 35 players that haven't practiced yet, just roughly 15 of them should be in the 2 deep. So you just think of how unusual that is to go into an August practice.
That's insane.
And you might have 15 players in your 2 deep of your 22 that haven't ever practiced or been in pads at your school. So it's all going to be a little new to us. I like where we are. I like the plan we have. I think we're in really good shape physically from a conditioning standpoint. The players seem to be working to come together as a group. But I can't imagine that anybody would think differently other than it'll be an interesting transition over the next 4 weeks in August.
Mike, how do you feel about the current state of college football and the settlement and essentially the salary cap?
I think it's just beginning. We're already seeing lawsuits that we didn't want to see. We were hoping that revenue sharing would slow some of this down, but unfortunately it's not going to. For us at Oklahoma State, one thing that I've shared with our players and our coaches, really everybody that's involved in the organization, there's so much going on right now. I think you have to be careful about losing your focus on playing football. The talk about all the different areas and transfer and money and how money's going to be distributed and third-party NIL and who's going to enforce the rules. I'm hoping that our team gets the message that I've tried to get across to them over the last couple months, is that we're getting ready to go into football season. We're going to start practicing, we're going to start preparation, we're going to start playing games. And everything outside is irrelevant at this point, because I do believe it's going to be ever-changing. I think it's just beginning. I would hope that there's going to be some boundaries in certain areas, but I don't see it happening. In my opinion, I just think it's a free-for-all, and the teams and the coaching staffs that can stay focused on the important thing of football have the best chance to win, in my opinion.
How do you handle or deal with NIL when that comes up in recruiting or in the portal?
I don't get involved in any of the financial side of our players. We have a business department. Kenyatta Wright is the director of our business, and he's a former NFL player who's got an NFL background, and with Players Association, he's tied in with everybody. He's very, very knowledgeable on contracts, different ways to handle supplements, and I allow them to do what they think is best based on the information they have of what some young man's value should be. I don't want to involve myself in the money because I still want to be able to coach, and players not look at me and get an opinion on me based on how much money that they felt like that I thought they were worth.
Yep.
All right, Coach, let's go back in time to your playing days. If you could go back and play one game of college football again, same age, same body, same arm, all the things, which game are you reliving?
Well, in '88, we lost a Bedlam game on a drop pass in the end zone with maybe 35 or 40 seconds. I would like to play that game again and ultimately win that game for the Oklahoma State fans more than anybody.
Catch the damn ball. Yep.
Well, and you know, Brent Parker is the guy that dropped the ball, and Brent's a good friend of mine and all of ours, but that happens. You know, that was just a time when Oklahoma State was good enough to beat Oklahoma and had them in a position to do it. And you asked the question, and that's one I'd like to have over to try to do it again.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Mike, appreciate your time as always. Good luck this year. Thank you.
You bet, guys. Thank you. All right, guys. Good seeing you.
Yeah, you
Thanks.
too, bud.
All
Take
right.
care. Good luck.